Hey y'all, welcome to January day 2. My name is Danielle if this is your very first time here. And today is exciting because it starts our budgeting series. Let's go ahead and get right into it because I don't want to draw this intro out for too long. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, give it a like, and share it with somebody because I feel like we could all use a little budgeting advice, especially if you don't currently have a budget. Oh, one more thing before we get into it. There is a sample budget in this video. And it doesn't start until around the 5-minute mark. I think that's where I introduce the sample budget and then we get into the actual numbers. So if you're more interested in the actual numbers than like the kind of like build up to it, skip to the 5-minute mark and then you'll be right into action. Okay. All right, let's get into it. And as promised, we're going to get into some budgeting talk. So essentially, we're going to be talking about how we built stability one small decision at a time and really take a deep dive into the things that we prioritize and the choices that make the life that we have now possible. So let's get into it. And the very first thing I want to talk about is that if you've been here for more than 4 years, more than 3 years, then you've seen a lot of the progress. You've seen us go from the really small townhouse that we lived in before we moved into our current house. I did talk about budgeting back then. I think I talked about how we saved, how I paid off debt. I think I talked about how we saved. I think I talked about a lot of that stuff back then. So I'll try to find some of those videos and link them down below. But this did not happen overnight and it was not quick at all. Like, it took a long time. It took years of budgeting, cooking a lot of meals at home, which I hate to cook. So having to cook almost every meal at home for years, not fun. Definitely a sacrifice on my part. And also like how it affects our lives now to be on a budget and to, have the type of security that we do. So some of my core beliefs when it comes to money are that every dollar should have a purpose. So with our current budget, I know where every dollar and every penny goes. I track all of our spending across multiple accounts and credit cards. And the reason that I do that is because one, it's not realistic for us to keep all of the money that we earn in one account because we obviously need to have savings account, that we funnel money into from our main checking account. For me, I keep a separate account for all of my YouTube income. But then if we have any separate goals that we want to save or plan for, then I might, use a different account for that. So over time, things kind of shift and change, but I'm tracking across multiple accounts. And more so than tracking across multiple checking accounts or savings accounts, I'm tracking across multiple credit cards because they fund different things. Another thing I want to highlight, when you make a budget, plan to have fun in your budget. Plan to eat out in your budget if your budget allows for it. Even if it's only $100 a month, planning to have some fun and planning to have some guilt-free spending and eating out or coffee or whatever you're into, planning for those expenses or purchases is necessary. Otherwise, it's going to feel like punishment. It's going to feel like punishment. You have to plan for the things that you want and the things that you need. Deprivation will absolutely lead to overspending. And sustainability matters more than perfection. So even if your perfect budget does not include a fun budget or eating out budget, it is not sustainable. So you're not going to be able to stay on track with a budget that doesn't have those things built in. So it's better to build a budget that you can actually sustain and keep up with month after month than it is to build one that you view as perfect, but you can't maintain. And I'm reading from my notes, y'all, because I can't remember all this. I'm trying to stay organized and stay on top because I will go off on a rant in a second. But I would also say that budgeting gives you freedom. That's the goal, is to give you financial freedom in the end. The goal is for you to be able to do everything you need to do some of the things you want to do, enough of the things you want to do so that you'll stay on track to build some financial security for the future. So obviously through saving, investing, whatever it is. I would say saving. Step 1, saving. Step 2, investing. Step 3, like estate planning. So do not make your budget too restrictive. The point is not to feel like you can't do anything. The point is to feel like you can do the things you want to do, but you're also doing the things you need to do. That is where you should end up at the end of this. Okay, y'all. Now we're gonna get into the real meat and potatoes. I created a sample budget using the exact template that I use on Google Sheets. and I just, instead of using my numbers, I'm using my percentages. So I'm not using the exact amounts that we earn every month and the exact amounts that we spend every month, but I figured out what percentage we spend on each of these categories, and I plugged the percentage based on the $10,000 sample budget. So in the sample budget, the monthly earnings are $10,000. So I use my percentages to get these sample numbers in this sample budget. So although it's not my actual numbers, it's exactly what my budget looks like, and it is the same percentages. So my percentage for savings is 19.7%. My percentage for groceries is 7.2%. My percentage for eating out is 3.9%. For fun is 3.9%. For me and Bernie is 1.97%. So essentially 2% for me and Bernie, and so on and so forth. That's how I got these numbers. Hopefully that makes sense. So I feel like this is the best way for me to give you exactly what I do. You really want to do exactly what I do. Use the percentages. Use your actual income and see how close you can get to the percentages that I use for my actual budget. So right now you are looking at the sample budget. This is available on Google Sheets. All you got to do is go on there, and this is type in budget, and this is one of the templates they have already made for you. All I do is change out the date. So it says monthly budget. I started on the 23rd, so right now I'm always going from the 23rd of the month I'm in to the 22nd of the following month, because that gives me a full monthly picture of our budget. And then it's broken down by expenses on one side and income on the other. For some reason it uses, or it counts, savings as income, which isn't necessarily right, because for us, savings come out of our income and they're kind of funneled into our savings account from our paychecks. So again, I'm using percentages based on a $10,000 monthly income. So again, 7.2% for groceries, which would be $724. And then I use a formula in this E column. So all of these have a formula. The sum is, it says, this is the formula that I use. Here it is zoomed in, and then it correlates to the N column. So everything that I add over here totals over here. So that's how I just put my transactions in over there, and then that way it'll automatically do the math for me, and I don't have to actually manually calculate everything that I buy. So as I'm going through my bank account or my credit card statements and I'm looking at the charges, I'm just deciding which of these rows to put everything in, and then I go over here, type in the number. Let's say it was $555, add a plus sign, and then we're good to go. So that is how I keep track of all my transactions. And this number will be based on a 2-person household or 2-income household. And for me, I have a family of 6. So feel free to adjust your percentages for certain things. If you don't have as many kids as I do, maybe your kids' budget doesn't need to be, let me see what percentage. Maybe your kids' budget doesn't need to be 3.9% of your income. Maybe you can get away with like 2% of your income if you only have 1 kid. But for that particular budget, it's for me buying them shoes, clothes, any activities they want to do. When I say activities, I mean like classes they want to take, stuff like that. And it does not include their normal expenses that I pay for, like their homeschool curriculum and stuff like that. So fixed expenses are, I think, 49% of our income, and that includes our mortgage, all of our subscriptions, gym memberships, internet, cell phone bills, let me see, car wash membership, life insurance, our AMC memberships, our Walmart Plus membership, the Asurion plans that we have that protect our whole home appliances and technology stuff like TVs, computers, all that kind of stuff. Did I say car notes, car insurance, life insurance? Yeah, all of that stuff. Everything that recurs monthly and is the same amount every month is in that fixed expenses category. I may be leaving some things out, but everything that recurs monthly and is the same amount every single month goes into fixed expenses for me. And then gas for us is 0.7% of our income because we have 2 electric cars and 1 gas car, and we drive the gas car less in order to, one, because that's the one that we actually own. That's the one that we are paying off. Like we didn't lease that one. And then 2, because gas is high. So, and charging at home is a lot less expensive than paying for gas. So we don't need to spend hundreds of dollars a month on gas if I'm driving around around. Any driving I do on a day-to-day basis is usually in an electric car. So we don't really have to worry about gas. Oh, I forgot to mention electric bill, propane, all that stuff is in our fixed expenses. Gas, very small amount of our monthly income. And then I have a category. This is just my personal categories, but I have a category for household and toiletries. That's things like trash bags, laundry stuff, any hair supplies I need for the kids. So like anytime I need to buy them new moisturizer, shampoo, conditioner, any toiletries, so deodorant, sanitary products, anything like female products, anything like that, skincare products, all of that stuff goes into this household, hair, and toiletries category. And honestly, right now it is 1.3% of our income, but I go over that every single month, and we're in our 3rd month, so I need to up that a little bit this month. And then I touched on me and Bernie's personal categories. We can spend our money on whatever we want. And one other thing I want to flag is that our budgets, our individual budgets, roll over. So anything we don't spend, we can roll that over to the next month and just kind of build it up that way. So that was an intentional decision, because if I have a certain amount of money and it's not that much, I think I said it was 2%. If I'm only spending 2% on myself of our whole income, then I should be able to roll that over if I don't spend it all. So that, for us in particular, we roll our budgets over. Barkley has his own budget. It is currently 0.7% of our income. So he is on this budget getting $66 a month. And then eating out, fun. For me and Bernie, we spend our individual budgets on if we eat out alone. So if I'm going somewhere, if I'm going to a restaurant by myself, then that comes out of my personal budget. If I'm going to somewhere with the kids, or like a family dinner or something like that, that comes out of eating out. And then if we go somewhere like a date, if we go on a date, just me and him, that comes out of the fun budget, because I count dates under fun. And then if it's just, this is just how I do it. Like, you don't have to do yours exactly like me, but this is how I categorize everything. So dates are fun. Anywhere we take the kids is fun. So if we take them to the movies, that comes out of the fun budget. If we take them to Chuck E. Cheese or Dave & Buster's, or, I mean, obviously we're not taking the older kids to Chuck E. Cheese at this point, but if I take Corey to Chuck E. Cheese, or everybody to Dave & Buster's, or if we go to an amusement park or anything like that, fun budget. And then right now I'm making a Disney cruise payment, and that is currently 9.9% of our income. But that is a very limited, I think we have 4 payments and then we're done. And then personal property taxes are another thing that we have to worry about, because we have to pay for our cars, because we live in Virginia, and that's just something that they do. Right now I don't have it budgeted, but if I make a payment, I'll put where it says $0, I'll add an amount in there. We do pest control. I think we're still bi-monthly at this point. I don't know that we have one this month. If we do, I'll fill that in. And then I have to get Barkley. He has one more vet visit coming up, and then he's up to date on all of his vaccines. But I know he's going to have this month one more vet visit plus vaccines, and I need to buy his heartworm medication. So whenever I get that amount, I'll put that there. And that won't come out of his normal budget, because it's not a normal expense that we have to pay for every single month. It'll be a one-time thing. And for his heartworm medication, I think I'm going to pay for that, like a 6-month supply. So I won't put that out of his budget. But for him, his budget is like food, any toys that I buy him, any like if I buy him new bowls, or basically anything except his vet visits, vaccines, and heartworm medication will come out of his budget. And then our savings are currently somewhere between 16 and 20%. Let me see what it says. 19.7%. So we are currently saving about 20% of our income. So this is the amount for this budget. And then I do the same thing with, well, I don't actually have, if you wanted to, you could correlate, you could just pull this, what's this thing called? You can pull this from right here, drop it down to here, and then, or drop it over here, and then make the sum come from maybe N39. And then you could say 400 plus 275, and boom, you got 675. And then if you want to use that for your paychecks too, just drop it down. And yep, it's 40. So I would say 2,500 plus, these are, I'm making these numbers up, plus 1,250, and that brings me to 3,750 so far in paychecks received. And as the difference is 6,250 we still need to earn for the month, and 1,299 is what's left for what we need to still save this month. So that is how I keep everything organized and stay on budget. And I tend to do this at least once a week. I don't like to let it pile up and get too crazy. So that is how I do my budgeting. It might seem difficult, but it's really easy once you get the hang of it and you are in the habit of always tracking your transactions and putting them into categories. And then I crave knowing, like after a while, you just want to know. You want to know what's happening because you get used to like really being able to visualize where your money is going. For me, it's necessary because we waste a lot of money when we're not on a budget. And I've noticed that we can be so much more intentional and our money moves are so much better when we're budgeting and we see where the money is going, because then I can be like, okay, I want to do this vacation. How can I do it? And I can sit down, look at the actual numbers, figure out how much we have to spare. How much do I need to pay every month to make this happen? How long is it going to take? And then I have it all mapped out in like 15 minutes. And then all I got to do is stick to the budget. So very much so worth it. Very much so worth it. And it just gives you more freedom. It gives you more security, more financial freedom, more structure, and I would say less worry, because you're sure about what's actually happening financially, and you don't have to worry about if you can afford this or if you can afford that. You'll know exactly what you can afford when you stay on top of where your money is going. So hopefully that is helpful. I will stop here and I'll be back, kind of get into more detail about all of this stuff. I will be talking about, so the video is going to be titled "The System I Use to Track Everything Without Losing My Mind." That is what we're going to talk about next. So we're going to get into more detail about my tracking system and how I do everything. And by the end of this little series, y'all will know all my secrets and you'll be able to effectively track your finance, or get your finances in order, track all your expenses, and you won't be stressed out doing it. All right, y'all, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If there's anything that you have questions about, feel free to drop those comments below so I can answer them in the next budgeting video, because I haven't filmed it yet. So drop all your questions about how to do things. Any questions you have about budgeting, drop them below, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye. See you tomorrow.